Hello, everybody, and welcome to IC Markets Market Commentary. My name is Tamar Mehr from Trade with Precision. So last week, the Bank of England has reduced their interest rate by 0.25%. However, it was a tightly held decision, and that saw the market trim back expectation of further rate cuts and the pound strengthening against its trading partners. So what I want to do today is do a spotlight on the pound, and I want to start with the pound versus the US. And here on the monthly chart, we can see we had a strong push to a higher high all the way from a lower low. We pulled back, but not as close, not back into the averages, and now we're moving away. So we do have the moving averages 10, 20, 50, all fanning, all in the correct order for an uptrend, with nice convergence here from the momentum indicators. However, we do not have an uptrend yet on the monthly chart. Looking at the weekly chart, and we can see that as the higher time frame pulling back, lower time frame change direction, and we have here a lower low, but we also have a very nice rejections of the same previous area around here, and currently pushing higher into the breakdown level. Looking at the daily, we can see that the daily is in a downtrend with moving averages fanning to the correct order in a downtrend, but we had here a very strong push from that lower low. So what I'm looking for a continuation of this upward move, I'm looking for a bit of release of this buying pressure. What I like about this push is that we actually taken this previous spike over here and we're consolidating around that area. But I want to see a pullback, and the areas that I'm looking for a pullback is either this previous level in and around the 134 area, or even a little bit lower, these spikes over here around the 1.3330. If we'll take a look here on the 4 hours, we can see this area. It was the previous spike before the push to a lower low, and the lower level was the consolidation level before we broke higher. Next, let's go to pound versus the Canadian. Now here on the monthly chart, we are still in an uptrend. Moving averages 10, 20, 50, all fanning, all in the correct order for an uptrend, and nice convergence here on the momentum indicators. We had a strong push, a pullback into the averages. We moved again, made a slight higher high, and pulled back into the averages, and now we're moving away. Taking a look here on the weekly chart, and we can see we no longer have an uptrend here. We had a deeper pullback in the context of the weekly, and here on the daily we can see that push lower. So we have made here a lower low, but what I like about this move is that we already broke this previous swing high. So for potential opportunities to the upside and to make sure that we're not seeing more sellers here that have extra power to push the price lower, I'd like to see the market pulling back in and around the 1.84 to the area of the previous consolidation, which is 1.8350. Then I'll be drilling into lower time frame, looking for signs of change of direction for the buyers to come back, and I'll be looking for a continuation of the higher time frame move. Now let's move into pound versus the yen. Now here on the monthly chart, we can see we have a consolidation around that very strong level of 200. We no longer have an uptrend. We do have compressions of price, so we're making somewhat of equal highs and higher lows. Moving into the weekly, and we can see that the weekly is in an uptrend. We had a pullback into the averages and currently move away. But once again, it's a strong move without a bit of a pullback, without release of the buying pressure. So what I'm looking for is that if we come back all the way up into the 200, I'll be looking for a bit of consolidation underneath that level as the buyers are building up more momentum to take that level for a momentum breakout. But what I would prefer is to see a pullback to release some of this buying pressure in and around the 109 97 area and another attack toward that level. So if I get a push toward the 200, I'll be looking for compressions of price. If I get a pullback, I'll be looking again for sign that the buyers are coming back around this area. Lastly, let's have a look at euro versus the pound. Now here on the monthly chart, even though we had a sharp move higher, we were unable to break this previous lower high. So even though it was almost 100%, we stopped just shy of that area. And so far we have rejection candle and another rejection candle for this month. Looking on the weekly chart, the weekly is still in an uptrend. We had a pullback into the averages, tried to go higher, rejected that move, and currently pulling back, but it is still in an uptrend. Looking here on the daily, and we can see that failure of the high and the level of around the 86.50 area. So what I'm looking for here is a bit more compressions of price, maybe a pullback into the 87 and back into the 86.50 before looking for a break, keeping in mind that we could see some buyers around the 0.86 because there is no clear agreement between the higher time frame. Happy trading, everyone. Bye for now.